Welcome to the Wknd Warriors Fishing Podcast, presented by 13 Fishing Canada. Make your own luck. We're here to scratch that angling itch and talk everything fishing. Join us as we sit down with special guests from across the industry. Now, here's your hosts, Brandon Cater and Logan Lewis.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Wknd Warriors Fishing Podcast. My name is Brandon, and I'm here with my co-host and buddy, Logan Lewis. How's it going, Logan?
I'm doing pretty good. Bite number 6 here, I believe. Got myself a new mic after last episode's little technical issues there, if people heard that. But yeah, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm not doing too bad. I mean, ice fishing just came to a close. Yesterday was the last day in the southern zone of Saskatchewan here. Got some mixed emotions. Started putting away right before we hopped on here. I was in the car garage putting away some ice fishing stuff, getting things organized, doing some spring cleaning. I had a great ice fishing season. I didn't get out as much as I wanted. But when I did get out, I definitely just embraced it and really enjoyed the fish and the memories and a lot of relationships that I made this season. It's been a good one for a lot of different reasons. But yeah, I'm just kind of getting ready for May now.
Yeah, same here. It's kind of time to start taking those. What I like to do is some of the reels that I use ice fishing, I also use them in the summer. So it's time to kind of start transferring that stuff over and getting ready for the open water season. Eventually pull the boat out of the Quonset and get that all nice and cleaned up and ready to go for opening day, and hope that can't come soon enough here. Nice to have a little bit of a break here. It didn't take many weekends off myself. But yeah, it'll definitely be exciting to get things rolling again here soon.
Oh yeah, 100%. Do you have any plans on, where do you plan on going opening day? Do you have any idea yet? I mean, that's over a month away yet, but any thoughts?
I'm not totally sure. I haven't seen what day that is. I'll just take a look here. It looks like May 5th, correct?
Yeah.
Opening day for us, so that's looking like it's going to be a Wednesday, so I'll probably hop out after work quick and go out to Buffalo for the evening and stay there till sundown just to get out there. Say I made it out there opening day, and who knows, maybe a fish will come by. But last year, I think I managed one or two walleye out there in about an hour last year opening day there. But how about yourself?
No plans yet. I'm still trying to figure out what this open water season is going to look like for me. I sold my boat come fall. For whatever reason, I thought that was a good idea. Obviously, I figured COVID might be gone by now, and that's not the case. It's super hard to find a good used boat that's not, with the COVID inflation right now, everything is just so overpriced. I mean, I've been looking at boats, and, Brooklyn's brother, Brandon, too, he's been looking for a boat. And, everything you find that's semi, a decent deal, it's still overpriced right now. But it's gone in a couple days, a week, 2 weeks max. And I just haven't found anything that, we want to pull the trigger on anyway. So right now I'm boatless. So I'm not really too sure what the open water season looks like for me. I definitely have some things I want to accomplish this open water season. But I guess first things first, I got to find a boat. Otherwise, we'll just be fishing banks and hopping in with you when I can.
Yeah, exactly. Luckily, we're only about 45 minutes away, so lots of those weekends could find each other on the boat there. And I guess we could mention that we're both going to be fishing our first tournament, with being the Buffalo Pound one. At least I put my registration in this week. But that should be something that'll be interesting for sure. Almost a little head-to-head, except you got former guest Tim Jenny with you, so things might be a little bit slanted in your favor, but I think it should be a good time.
Yeah, I definitely thought, Logan and I have never tournament angled before, and that was definitely a big goal of mine this year, is just to enter my first tournament. And I know it was one of yours too. And fortunately for us, we both, I think our registration's in too. So, but we're not on the same team. I definitely thought maybe our first tournament would be together or something like that, and that's just not how it panned out. But it'll be fun. I mean, I'm definitely interested to see what we can learn. From your boat to my boat. I'm sure we're going to share, some tactics, some tips, some tricks. And I mean, I don't know Buffalo Pound too well, so I got to get out there at least a couple times before that tournament and and learn a little bit of demographic and structure out there. So
the lack thereof structure.
Well, I was just gonna say I don't know how much structure is actually out in that lake, but I know there's some decent walleye in there. Just talking from yourself, and I've only been there a couple times, and it's always just been ice fishing. So I don't know. I mean, is the potential as down in the chain lakes in Fort Capel, there are those 29s, 30s lurking around. I don't know. Are those hidden gems in Buffalo too? I honestly have no idea what the average size walleye is for Buffalo.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to say there's no potential at all, but it's definitely, I'd say, more of a numbers lake, but in the sense of, I'd say your average size is a little bit bigger than most other numbers lakes, but it's definitely, you're not the probability, I guess, of laying into one of those last mountain type fish or even one of the chain lakes types fish there definitely isn't as high, but it's definitely a good time for numbers and just keeping the action steady for most of the summer, actually. So it should be interesting to see. I haven't fished it a ton in the early season. Like, I'll go out for a couple days and then I kind of start exploring a little more of those. So it'll be interesting to see. But from what Tim said and what I've heard from other people, I think I worked the tournament, volunteered at the one at Buffalo in 2017, I think it was, and I if I remember correctly, the biggest fish was, I think, 8.8 pounds maybe.
That's a decent fish.
Oh yeah, it's not a bad fish at all. It's just when you look at, say, like a Last Mountain tournament, and we know that Last Mountain or Tobin, like those tournaments have some huge fish that come into them, but it's definitely not a bad fish. It's a pretty good fish for a buffalo pound. So it'll be interesting to see. When I was working it, I think every boat pretty well came in with a fish bigger than I've ever seen come out of that lake. So we'll see how things go our way here when we actually fish the tournament, but definitely some potential there and just really a good time with how often the bite is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So this episode, Logan and I just kind of wanted to hop on here. We don't have a special guest joining us tonight. We have a couple great guests lined up. Definitely stay tuned for some future episodes. We have a lot of big things coming. As far as the podcast goes this open water season, whether that be episodes, we have some sponsorships that we're going to be being a part of, some other partnerships that we're working on right now that definitely have some big things happening in Saskatchewan and the fishing side of things too. So we're definitely excited for what the future holds. I mean, we have just started kind of getting the ball rolling. This is only our 6th episode, but we're definitely super excited for the open water season from a podcast standpoint as well, not just a personal standpoint. We're super excited for what we're going to do ourselves, but the podcast has a lot of big things coming as well. So definitely stay tuned.
Yeah, it's been pretty exciting to see, even after just 5 episodes here, how crazy things have kind of gone for us and all the new people that we've met and that have reached out to us, and that just for me and Brandon, I think a big thing is just getting to know more people. That's been a lot of fun for us, and some of these guys that and girls that we've been lucky enough to talk to, it's been a really fun time. So yes, thank you again.
We're going to take a quick break here. Quick word from one of our sponsors, Lucky Bastard Distillers, and we'll be back with some Q&A after that.
Get ready to stand on guard for the
Prohibition is over, Saskatchewan. Ask Lucky Bastard today how you can make Canada's ultimate Caesar, true north and strong. Featuring Lucky Bastard's premium dill pickle vodka, LB's famous bacon rimmer, and bacon bitters. It's not a Caesar if it's not Lucky Bastard. Order online or stop by 814 47th Street East. And tonight, why not mix your Caesar with some Lucky Bastard?
All right, so if that interests you at all, you can go to luckybastard.ca. You can use our code Wknd Warriors, so that's WKND Warriors, and you will receive 10% off your order on anything on their website. They do ship Canada-wide, but if you are from Saskatchewan, definitely check them out. They're a local company. They make great products. I actually have the bottle. I have a bottle of premium vodka from Lucky Bastard right here. That's what I'm sipping on tonight. And you know what? It's absolutely unbelievable. I don't know, like, I'm more of like a whiskey guy, but I do like a vodka here or there. I don't know if anyone recalls, but like, say, like a big name brand like Smirnoff, when you take a shot of it, it's got a real burning sensation going down the hatch. This doesn't have, this doesn't have that. Like this is premium distilled vodka. I think it's distilled 7 times for good luck, they say. But yeah, definitely check them out. Wknd Warriors, 10% off your order.
Yeah, sweet. So we thought, not having a guest this episode, we figured maybe episode 6 here, after having 5 episodes up already, it'd be a good time to kind of do a little Q&A, just kind of get to know us a little better, kind of put some information behind the faces or the voices that you're seeing or hearing. So I guess we'll get right into that. Before we even get to any questions that we were asked on the polls on Instagram and Facebook, I guess maybe each of us should just kind of talk about what we do right now, kind of thing, like what our lives look like away from the podcast.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. That sounds like a great idea. You want me to go first?
Sure. Kick her off.
All right. So, I mean, for me, I have a 9-to-5 job. I work 5 days a week at a heavy equipment dealership here in Regina, Saskatchewan. So I'm working during the day. Every time I'm doing anything fishing, it's usually in the evening on the weekends. I do a little bit of photography and that kind of stuff on the side. It's definitely something I've taken an interest in, over the last couple years, kind of slowly accumulating gear. I mean, it's not cheap. Camera gear is not cheap. So, I kind of started out, buying this, buying that, buying this used, and just kind of self-taught myself a little bit of photography and a little bit of videography. I wouldn't call myself good by any means, but I do a little bit of that on the side. I run some social media platforms for some small businesses as well. Yeah, I mean, I just kind of, everything that I have on the spare time of things is kind of dedicated to fishing now, especially with the podcast. If I'm not out fishing, taking content, I'm usually with you, Logan, here recording an episode, planning an episode, dealing with sponsorships and that kind of stuff. So
yeah, for sure. I think for me, took me 5 years here, got my accounting degree, I guess business degree, majoring in accounting, and worked just like Brandon Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 kind of thing at a local firm here in Moose Jaw. And then after that, usually come home from work and either do something here at the podcast, or I also work part-time for a company called Anglers Atlas, which is pretty cool. It's in the fishing industry as well. And then other than that, it's just kind of like Brandon said, pretty well everything else is taken up by either being out fishing or researching something for fishing or just researching new gear, anything like that. Like pretty well all the free time seems to go into something like that until kind of hunting season in the fall there, where things have kind of changed a bit for me over the last year. But yeah, for sure. Lots of time spent thinking or fishing.
Yeah.
I guess thinking of fishing.
I mean, I have a fiance now. I got engaged a couple weeks ago, so I definitely got to make some time for her, and we have a little dog and that stuff as well. So, I mean, she loves to fish as well, fortunately. So, if I want to head out fishing, it's usually not too big of a deal to sneak away whenever I have spare time. But yeah, I mean, it's been great. Everything that, since I kind of got into, more of the fishing industry, meeting, tons of people, that's kind of my biggest takeaway from, all of this. It's just the relationships that you and I both have made, and it's just the people that we've been involved with have been so good to us, and my biggest thing is I want to learn. I want to learn every day. There's so much that goes into fishing. There's so many different variables. There's never not something to take away from a piece of content or a conversation with somebody that's fished tournaments before, or anybody really, right? I mean, it's a learning process. Whenever I talk to somebody, I try to take away those little tidbits anyway. So
yeah, for sure. I think that's a huge thing for me. Lots of fishing is about the social aspect of it. And don't get me wrong, I still have lots of times where I'll go up by myself, and I enjoy those as well. But it's a lot of fun having a buddy on the boat, someone to fish with, kind of someone to help remember the story the right way, not turn it into a fishing tale and stuff like that. And it's just been, me and you both were lucky to meet a lot of people, and lots of the friends I have to this day still, I've met them out on the ice, met them on Instagram talking about fishing, Facebook, same idea. Like, there's so many good people in the industry, especially here in Saskatchewan. It's definitely a good chance to learn and a good chance to meet some really, really cool, dedicated people as well.
Yeah, so let's jump into a couple of these questions that we got from our Instagram and Facebook stories. So let's start with this first one. Which one of you guys are taller?
This is definitely just a competition between us two because we're not the two tallest guys. This is coming from, I guess, who is that? Who's taller? That was from our friends J&J Fishing, Justin and Jacques, who are both over 6 feet, I believe. So this is kind of a jab at us here, but
definitely, yeah, absolutely. What an insider joke.
Yeah, I would say I don't know who's taller. I'd say we're pretty similar, which is not something I'm used to. Pretty well everyone I fish with seems to be over 6 feet for some reason.
Yeah, we're not the biggest guys, but we definitely do. You know, we bring some punch. So J&J, you better watch out.
Yeah, and it makes the fish look bigger when we hold them too. They're smaller.
Oh
guys.
yeah, 100%.
No, that's I don't know. I think we'll say we're the same height. We don't need to give specific numbers here, but I'd say we're around the same height. This is a good one from Samuel. He says, what made you want to get into fishing and your backstory on fishing, and then have you won any tournaments? So we kind of touched on the tournament part already. No tournament wins yet. I don't know if I see any in our near future here, but you never know.
Yeah, I can't really foresee any this year. But Logan and I definitely, we want to get into the tournament scene a little bit. Obviously, that's not our main focus. We do love some friendly competition. We are a couple competitive guys, but at the same time, like, for us, I think it's more or less like supporting one another and like kind of leaving the ego at home type thing. I don't know, like, I've heard some horror stories about tournaments before, you know, guys get really, obviously there's a lot of money on the line. But for me, like, I don't want to get caught up in a lot of that either. Like, I want to fish tournaments because, you know, I'm a competitive guy, but I want to make sure that the tournament doesn't get the best of me either. So for me, I want to get into the tournament scene basically to learn, not to cash checks right now. The learning process is the important aspect for me. And for myself, I mean, luckily for myself, I get to fish my first tournament with, you know, somebody that's cashed a lot of checks and knows a lot of things. And for me, that's, you know, if you're getting into tournaments, you want to definitely find somebody that can take you under their wing and kind of show you the ropes a little bit, show you some tactics and some things to look for that maybe you didn't know or that you don't do on a day-to-day, you know, just driving around the lake looking for fish. But yeah, so no tournament wins for either of us.
No, not even close. Not even a chance to win. Not yet. But I guess what made you want to get into fishing, I guess, when you first started? Kind of your backstory on that.
Okay, so I think we kind of touched on this on our introduction episode, but that was just a quick, like, 8 or 10 minute episode that we didn't really get into too many details in. But my backstory is I kind of always fished. It was always open water fishing. My family's had a cabin for 25 years. It's walleye fishing, open water. I never really targeted any other species other than walleye, until recent years. A lot of you might not know, like, Logan and myself played competitive hockey. I played hockey for, it would have been 3 years ago now, is when my career ended. I was playing down in the States. I played 2 years of college hockey. I ran into some concussion issues. So I was kind of halted. I wasn't allowed to play contact sports anymore. So I was kind of put in an awkward situation where, you know, hockey took up my whole winter and majority of my summers, whether it be training, or actually physically playing hockey in the winters. But then that was kind of just taken away from me, and I didn't really have anything to fill that time in the winter, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I had just met Brooklyn. that year, I had a lot of time on my hands, and Brooklyn said, well, let's go ice fishing. I said, ice fishing? Like, I've never been ice fishing. Like, I always thought that was not safe. Like, my dad never ice fished. I think he maybe went once with one of my uncles one time, and, you know, it wasn't for him. So I never grew up ice fishing. I wasn't raised around, you know, heading out on the frozen lakes and for 12 hours a day chasing walleye, punching holes. So 3 years ago would have been, you know, the first time that I ever drilled a hole in a lake or picked up an ice fishing rod. You know, but since then, that just kind of, it really ignited a passion in me. I really enjoyed it. It was something I could do with my pastime. It was something I could, you know, do research on. I could, you know, kind of self-teach myself a little bit about it in my spare time, you know, off the ice as well. But more or less, it was just something that I could do to pass the time in the winter. And since then, it's just been, man, it's kind of taken over my life. Taken over my life a little bit. I mean,
yeah.
Since then, you know, all summer it's fishing. Winter comes, fishing. I definitely like the media, the marketing, that kind of stuff. And you know, when I was kind of introduced to that side, the business side of fishing, that definitely opened my eyes a lot too. You know, you don't realize what's all out there and what's, you know, what possibilities are out there for you, until you kind of, you know, go after it yourself and kind of open doors for yourself. I mean, for me, the biggest thing is just, I never want it to become a job. I mean, even if it physically ever does become a job, I don't want it to be a job. Like, I don't want to wake up in the morning and be like, oh man, I have to go fishing. And there's some people that happens for them, right? They have a passion, they chase it, they end up, you know, turning it into a business or a job, and then it becomes work. And that's my biggest thing. I don't want that to happen. But yeah, and then from there, you know, after I was introduced kind of the marketing and sponsorship side of things, I definitely started to take, you know, my social media and content, whether that be photography, videography, that kind of stuff, a little more seriously. And I just kind of wanted to create like a platform and a community on my social media pages and my website and stuff where, you know, anybody could, you know, come hang out and relate to that content, because my content is for the first time angler. It's for the hardcore Wknd warrior. You know, it's kind of for everybody. I don't really direct it at one demographic of people. So I just want to share my passion with everybody, and that's kind of what it comes down to for me. So
yeah, I think that's pretty similar for me too. I just wanted a place to put up something that I like doing, rather than flooding my personal Instagram with all that stuff. And we've just both been lucky enough to have it turn into kind of what it has today.
Yeah, and like, I don't know about you, but like the relationship side of it is absolutely crucial. I mean, for myself, you know, through my Instagram, you know, I had part-time side jobs for, you know, e-commerce and, you know, tackle companies where I ran their social medias, where, you know, I had lure companies reach out to me and I did some product photos for them. You know, a lot of different stepping stones throughout the industry, you know, to kind of get to figure out what you like and what you don't. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I like taking product photos too, but I don't want to do that every weekend. Mm-hmm. It's definitely time consuming. I don't recommend it, but yeah. And then you and I just kind of always wanted to start a podcast, and we figured, you know what, we have our social media pages. Like, let's start a podcast together. Like, we're two guys that just love fishing. It's not our job, but we definitely have some intel and some stories and some relationships that we want to share with everybody. So here we are.
Yeah. And I guess going back to that question, I guess how I kind of got started with fishing. I grew up out at Buffalo Pound here in Saskatchewan, and my family's always, I guess since I was born, has always had a cabin out there. So I've been lucky enough to have that. It's only 15-20 minutes away from Moose Jaw, and Have a pretty good, we call it our lake family out there, pretty good group. Usually Saturday nights in the summer are 25, 35 people, suppers and stuff like that. And some other kids in the bunch too. And they kind of started, me and my sister are the youngest of the group. And some of the older ones kind of got into fishing, and it's just started in the little 12-foot tinners with little like 4 or 5 horse trolling around, usually trolling like a jig or trolling like the original rattle and wrap and stuff like that from Rapala, and kind of started there. And then just as I got older, I started to get into it more, and not a ton of ice fishing when I was younger, but then probably 7-8 years ago, that's kind of when the ice fishing started as well. And then I don't know, I'm not sure if it was maybe grade 12 or kind of getting into university there, where things just really started to pick up. And for those that have gone to university, there's if you want, there can be a lot of free time. Maybe some other things should have been going on, like studying or something like that, but there's a lot of free time for fishing if you want. And I think that's where things really ramped up for me. The summer fishing really picked up, and then especially I was coming home from Saskatoon pretty well every weekend, it seemed like, and going fishing somewhere. But yeah, definitely it all started at Buffalo Pound for me, so it should be interesting entering this tournament for the first time ever on kind of my home lake, and seeing how we do.
Yeah, absolutely. You got a little bit of an edge on myself there, so.
Yeah, but then you got Tim. Tim's almost like a ringer out there out on Buffalo Pound. That's probably some light work for him out there, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. So we got a question here from Aaron. I want to buy a new summer rod for mostly walleye. What tips or what do you look for choosing the right rod?
Is that directed at me?
You can start.
In all honesty, even when it, like we talked about, us both playing hockey, when it came to hockey, I was always getting my information on, what's the new skates, what's the new stick, the new gloves kind of thing. I was always getting that from someone else. And it's kind of, I never really knew, what's this newest and greatest item coming out. So I've gotten a bit better with the fishing stuff, but lots of it, honestly, that I do is just talking to other people, asking around, stuff like that, watching videos and kind of researching. And then, of course, taking into account what I plan to do with it. Am I just going to be jigging walleye, or am I going to be casting for pike or stuff like that? So I would definitely say reach out to some people and see what their opinion is, and research as much as you can. And then when it comes down to it, if you just want to try something out, maybe you want to try a certain action out, maybe don't go for the most expensive thing right off the start, and kind of figure out what you like and then go from there. But in all honesty, I don't even run a ton of setups, just from my lack of knowledge on the subject. Like I think I have 3 bait caster setups and then 2 spin setups right now, and that's it, which to some people that don't fish a lot, that might seem like quite a lot, but then you got people on the other side of the spectrum here, and that's like that's like nothing to them for what they might take out in the tournament and whatnot. So yeah, I would just say do as much research as you can, and then lots of it comes down to kind of personal preference and what you've noticed in yourself.
Yeah, and then, I mean, for walleye specifically, there's a couple things. Like, I'm not a specialist by any mean on the topic, but there's a couple things, like when I'm going out and I'm looking for a new rod, to take into consideration. What are you going to be using that rod for? Are you going to be, live rigging? Are you going to be, ripping? Are you going to be pulling cranks? Are you bottom bouncing? First, figure out, yes, your species. Second, figure out what tactic are you going to be using to fish that species. And then from there, you can kind of narrow it down. For me, I use all 13 fishing now. That was a personal decision before, and now we have a partnership with them. So, you can call it biased, but whatever you want to call it. For me, I personally like the 13 fishing products. I run a lot of Defi Black rods. There's a lot of great options for walleye in that series. They're not an expensive rod. They're not spending, the $150 for a rod. I think they're like $74 for a rod. And, there's a ton of other great series in the 13 fishing lineup. For me, personally, I like a medium light fast action for live rigging, just because it's a little more sensitive. And then I'll use a medium for say ripping jigs and other tactics for that type of heavier lure approach. But definitely, if you're going to be live rigging, you want that a little bit more sensitive of a rod, and you want to be able to have that medium, light, fast action capabilities of definitely getting a good hook set on that walleye.
Yeah, for sure. I think definitely what you mentioned with the live rigging, kind of like I said, from talking to people, I've got a buddy that knows a fair amount about rods, and same thing he was saying, kind of that medium, light, a bit longer rod, and that the fast action there for that kind of stuff, like your Lindy rigging and whatnot. And yeah, totally. I think when I am looking for a new pike rod for one of my bait casters, so I'll probably be looking at some of the 13 fishing casting rods that they have there. One thing I really like about their stuff is kind of when lots of the fishing industry stuff can be kind of bland sometimes, but 13 Fishing definitely has like a kind of modern, sleek look to it, and that's something that definitely interests me, and I think I pretty well have a rod picked out already, but I'll have to update everyone on that once I do decide.
There's so many good brands out there. I mean, you have, your St. Croix, your Fenwicks. There's just so many good brands out there, and it all depends on a budget and, what you're using it for. So anybody you talk to, they're probably going to have a different opinion. So definitely do your research. Actually, I just read an article today from Rapella Canada. They just dropped a new article about rod actions and the benefits of each. And it's a fantastic article. We can definitely link it below, or you can head on over to repellacanada.ca, and I'm sure you'll find it on there as well. So definitely check that out if you're looking for some, tips on how to choose the right rod for your next rod.
Yeah, and I think that budget thing you mentioned is a big thing. Like, you can, if you really like, fishing can be as expensive as you want it to be. You can totally break the bank with every single thing you buy, or you could maybe go a little bit smaller on the dollar scale there, but maybe end up with two setups instead of one kind of thing. And I think that's one thing I've noticed definitely looking through that 13 Fishing store a lot, is there's rods and whatnot on both ends of the spectrum. There's good rods that are on the lower side for dollar value, and then they've got their high class expensive rods as well. So it's kind of pick your poison kind of thing, and you don't have to ball out with everything with fishing. And another great way to find things too is used as well. That's what I've done a little bit too, but once again, just comes down to doing your research and what you decide that you kind of need for whatever application you'll be using it for.
Absolutely. All right, let's hop on to the next one. Okay, so this is a good one. This is a tough one, I think, for myself. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. But what is the craziest fishing accident or situation that you've been a part of?
Yeah, that one's from Zach Brown, not the band, but it would be pretty sweet. I honestly have been, I don't even want to say this because I don't want it to happen, but I've been lucky enough that I haven't had any of the hooks in the fingers, hooks in the arm, knock on wood there. But
yeah, you definitely just jinxed yourself.
Yeah, I've been way better about debarbing things, especially because I'm mostly catch and release, but because also if it does end up in my finger, maybe that will save me a little bit. But maybe craziest fishing accident, well, it's not even that crazy, but one from this summer, I guess, went up to one of my buddies. They just purchased a flying camp this summer, or last spring, and first full morning out there, I was out in the boat just jigging by myself while the other guys were getting ready, and was lucky enough to have a little 4-pound hammer handle. Decided it wanted to take my jig, and came up. I was dealing with it and had a snaggletooth that decided it wanted to thrash through pretty well the whole one side of my thumb. We're up north, remote area, kind of a little bit of service depending on if the booster was working or not, but there's so much blood coming out of my finger, I couldn't tell if it was really bad or not. So they're on the dock. I'm saying, we're probably gonna need the first aid kit, and they don't know if my thumb's gone because I still don't know what's happened. But that, and then I guess for that ended up being, it was okay. Just wrapped it up, went lake trout fishing later that day, so it was still good to go. But for a craziest situation, nothing even too crazy has happened to me. I've been lucky that things have been pretty chill. But I guess maybe this summer, I don't know if anyone remembers the big plow wind that came. It basically came all the way from Alberta across Saskatchewan into Manitoba. I think it was around July long weekend. We were up at Otter Lake, which my family goes to kind of right on July long for the past like 9 or 10 years. And we were at one of their stock trout lakes around there on a canoe, and this plow wind decided it was going to come through. Some thunder and lightning started, and then the wind just picked up like crazy, and we couldn't see anything. The rain was coming down mad. There's 3 of us in this canoe. We make it onto shore and kind of hide there for a little bit, and then when we come back out, we see the damage that the plow wind has done, and the trees were just pancaked in so many areas around us. So I'd say that was probably the craziest situation I can remember as of late. We got back out there and kept fishing, and the bite was great right before and right after it. But no, that was probably the craziest situation recently. But I'm sure there is some way crazier situations that some of the listeners have for sure.
Yeah, that plow wind scenario was something for the history books. But I mean, myself as well, like, knock on wood, haven't had, a super crazy accident of I haven't fallen out of a boat or, anything super dramatic. I do have a story or a situation that, is kind of the shits, but so I lived down in North Dakota. I played hockey and went to college down there. Naturally, I wanted to fish while I'm down there, right? So I went down there for my first year, got my fishing license. We fished a lot of great bodies of water. I think it's called Lake Sakawea. I can't remember the proper pronunciation. So lots of great fishing down there. Lots of places where you just drive and you can just cast, bank fish. Anyway, so my second year I go down there and same thing, get my license, go fishing. After the hockey season and everything, my buddy says, hey, let's go fishing. And, it was a transition between seasons, yada, yada, yada. I didn't really know the dates and the difference in how everything worked down there. So, well, I should go renew my license, or because, up here you have to get a new license every season. He said, oh, no. The one you got, it's good 12 months of the year. You don't have to, you'll be fine. You don't need a license. Okay, sure, let's go. So we go fishing, catch some unbelievable pike, take some pictures, post them up in a fishing group, North Dakota fishing group. And next day, I'm coming home from class, and there's a CEO at my apartment, and I get a call, and it's like, is this Brandon Cater? Yeah. Hey, this is the CEO, North Dakota, yada yada. Can you come downstairs? I'm in the parking lot. What the heck? Okay, like, what could they want, right? So I head down, asked me to come in his truck, so I go in his truck, and he says, just hands me these papers, and it was the pictures that were posted in this fishing group. He says, is this you? I said, yeah. He said, well, did you keep any fish that day? I said, no. I said, oh, you're lucky. I was like, oh, what do you mean? He's like, well, your license expired the day prior. And I said, no, you're joking. And down there, it's a misdemeanor. It's like a big deal. Like, it's a big deal up here too, but like I had like a criminal record down there, and like I had to go to the court system and like appeal it and be like, hey, I'm from Canada, like I really don't want this on my my record. Like, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. And it ended up costing me a good chunk of US dollars to get that off to get that off my record and everything like that. Just, I don't know, crossing borders and stuff all the time. I didn't want to have any issues or, have any reason for anybody to hold me down for like a half an hour and question me. So that's the craziest thing that's happened to me. Is just, I had a big criminal record issue with fishing in North Dakota. Luckily for me, that's off of my background, and we're good to go. So
and we
definitely
learned from it.
Oh yeah. And I said, if I ever, now I mean, I never, like, I'm checking my fishing license all the time. Actually, like here in Saskatchewan, if you don't know, they have like a renewal process. So if if you're going to be getting your fishing license every season, they'll just like set you up and it will auto renew itself every season. So I don't even need to worry about it anymore because it's taken care of.
Yeah. And that's a big thing, I guess, especially this time of year with our kind of season ending episode here. Read the regs, because those new ones that wasn't directed at you kind of thing, but the new ones are coming out here. I think I just saw that they were just released recently. So
I think they were just released today, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So I'm not even saying like read the entire thing, but I guess whatever lake you're going to, kind of check up on that and see. And then the nice thing is in Saskatchewan, they have kind of a what's new for, I guess, it'd be 2021, 2022. So you can kind of see what's changed and whatnot. So yeah, definitely something's important, because the different lakes, different zones, there's different rules, barbless, can't keep, can keep, different limits and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely something to check out for sure.
Definitely, because I mean, so my family, we have our cabin up at Fishing Lake. It's in Saskatchewan, good fishing, good walleye fishery. I haven't caught like a monster, like a trophy walleye, but consistent, like 23, 24s. You can go out there, catch your limit type thing. If that's what you're going out there for, you can catch your limit, good 17, 18 inch fish, in like an hour. But the catch is, on that lake, the walleye limit is 2. The amount of people that I see at that lake in the filleting shack, the cleaning shack, that keep 4 walleye per person. So like a group of 3 will come in, they'll have 12 walleye. And like I've been going there my whole life, so for me, like 12 walleye, that's a lot of walleye for like, a limit. You got to have 6 people in the boat, right? And you got 3 guys coming into the shack, and oh yeah, what an unbelievable day! Like, look at all these beautiful fish, and I'm just like, well, I mean, you can only keep 2 a person. Oh no, it's 4 per person. It's just like, it's just like Pasqua or Echo. You can keep 4 per person. No, you can't. You can't. You gotta look into it. I mean, every lake is different, but yeah, like the amount of times that I've ran into people that think the limit is the same for every lake in the province is unfortunate, I guess. But
yeah, that's the thing. I think being like, I guess, like conservation minded like we are, and I don't keep very often. I don't have a problem with it, but definitely you see in those cleaning shacks, definitely there's usually every trip that you go to one of those, there seems to be a pretty funny story coming out of there from what you see from the other people that are in there. And especially up north, where there's definitely more of a kind of a, I'm going to go up there and catch my limit and bring as much home as I can kind of thing. You definitely see some pretty funny things in there, some pretty questionable things, but yeah, it's always interesting.
Oh, 100%. Kate, let's take our last question here. So this one is, what are your open water goals this season?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to end it. Well, I guess I guess it'll be hopefully happening now. Hopefully COVID doesn't ramp up here and cancel the tournament. But one of my goals was to fish a tournament this season. So it'll be interesting to see if this one does end up playing out. Hopefully it does. But other than that, I just, like, this winter I stayed camped on the ice for my first time ever, and probably another 5 or 6 nights maybe were spent either in the truck or on the ice. So that was something I wanted to do. But I think I just want to keep exploring. Maybe when it comes to fishing, maybe a little bit ADHD with, like, I can't just fish walleye all summer, or fish Lakers all summer, or fish trout all summer. I like to switch it up. Maybe it results in not getting dialed in as much, but I definitely like to just switch things up, explore new places. So my goal is just to keep exploring, basically, and spend some nights somewhere with the boat. We usually camp on an island up north when we do go there, so that's always fun. But yeah, just to keep exploring.
Nice. That sounds like a pretty good season. So for myself, pretty similar. I mean, for me, I want to fish my first tournament, which, same thing, as long as COVID doesn't have a say in that. I think, definitely be able to do that. I want to get down and do some bass fishing. I want to catch my first largemouth bass.
That's a good one.
That's on my goal. I haven't got a chance to get down to Boundary yet. Another one is I want to work on my photography skills. I mean, I just picked up a brand new lens today. Should be pretty cool to get a different perspective, in the outdoors, sunsets. I don't know. I got some ideas. I definitely want to up my photography skills this summer as well. So whether that's, spending a day just shooting for promotional stuff or just, catching moments and that kind of stuff. For me, the photography side of things, I've definitely taken a huge interest in. So, and then...
Sorry, I was going to say, I can supply the boat and modeling services.
Sounds good, yeah. Because, one, I have no boat, and two, I'm not model material, so thank you.
Oh, come on.
And then another big one for me is I would like to catch a 30-inch walleye open water.
Yes, I would too. I haven't got one open water. Was lucky enough to get my PB at 30.5 this winter. But yeah, definitely 30-inch open water would be, I'll add that to my list, my goals list.
So tournament, bass, photography, 30-inch walleye. And honestly, I just want to continue creating great relationships in the fishing industry. I really want to see where this podcast goes. I think we have something good here. We have a lot of big things coming. Definitely, if this is your first time tuning in, go back, listen to a couple episodes. Send us an email if you have some, topic suggestions, guest suggestions, anything. Like we're open books. We want to know what you guys want to hear. We're not professional anglers by any means. If there's something that you guys want to learn about, if we don't know about it, let's get somebody on here that can, teach us all, about that topic. Definitely some exciting things. Like we promise you that there's some exciting things coming in the coming months. So don't go anywhere.
I'd like to add one more goal to my list. That I've kind of on the back burner, I've kind of taken up fly fishing over the years, thanks to my uncle, and wasn't able to go out to Calgary this year, sadly, to go fly fishing, but I've done that for the last couple of years. But I would like to catch a carp on the fly this year.
Carp on the fly.
Yeah, that's one of my goals, probably in early spring here kind of thing, but that's on the list as well. So it might take a bit of time away from the pre-fishing for the tournament, but that's on the list. Carp on the fly.
Put a piece of corn on your hook.
No. We're not. We're doing this with an actual fly.
It's an ancient Chinese secret.
Yeah, no, there's that way. I guess lots of people don't like them, but if you are trying to target them, we are pretty lucky down south here. You can find them pretty easily. So now it'll just be to trick them into actually taking that fly and then hold on for dear life, because I have caught them rod and reel purposely, and they're a great fight. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes on a fly rod.
Man, when I lived down in North Dakota, there's some big carp. I'll send you some pictures. But yeah, we caught some big carp. I caught a alligator gar down in North Dakota.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, it wasn't a targeted cast by any means, but it was definitely a cool catch. But yeah, big carp, tons of fun. Super underrated fish too. I mean, they don't get the best,
Rap.
Yeah, but they're fun to catch.
Yeah, no, I've heard lots of people call them, like, I think it's like a freshwater bonefish, redfish, I'm not sure. But I know what the two are, but I can't remember what people call them. But yeah, the fight they put up in, it's in shallow water, ripping around, peel and drag, like they're a lot of fun and pretty easy fishing if you enjoy just sitting there taking in the scenery and then waiting for your rod to start peeling.
Yes.
But I guess if you're still listening, thank you. I know there wasn't a guest for this episode, but we thought it'd be a good chance to kind of get to know us a little better, kind of just chit chat and kind of let you know where things were going. But for sure, if you're looking to get ramped up here for the spring opener, definitely check out 13 Fishing's website and use our code Wknd Warriors for 15% off. I know I'll definitely be going on there and ordering some things here. Lots of local places are sold out of stuff as well, so it'll definitely be a good chance to get on there, stock up a bit here, and maybe get some secret items for that tournament that I'll be fishing against you in.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, go check out 13fishing.ca. Tons of great products. But yeah, if you're still tuned in, thank you for listening. We appreciate all of your support. Definitely head on over to your listening platform and leave us a review or a written review. And yeah, until next time.
Talk to you later.
Thanks for tuning in to the Wknd Warriors Fishing Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to leave a review on your favorite listening platform so we can reach more anglers just like you. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for media updates and behind-the-scenes content.